Good evening, Addison, and welcome to the combined meeting of the committees for Monday, May 19th. Will the secretary please call the roll?
Trustees Del Rosario.
Here.
Reyes.
Here.
Co-chairs Kluzny.
Here.
Nasty.
Here.
O'Brien.
Here.
Mayor Hundley.
Item number 2 is consideration to approve the minutes of the May 5th, 2025 combined meeting of the committees.
Motion. Second.
Any additions, corrections? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Minutes are approved. Item number 3 is audience input regarding agenda items before the committee. We have none. Item number 4 is discussion of accounts payable. Earlier this evening, we reviewed the following directives. Directive 26-03 in the amount of $88,865.70. Directive 26-04 in the amount of $615,747.88. And Directive number 26-05 in the amount of $1,643,815.19.
Motion. Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Item number 5 is consideration of a resolution approving a renewal quotation from ESRI Inc. for ArcGIS software in the not-to-exceed amount of $18,923.23. Funding in account number 620.9962-4105.
Motion. Second.
Thank you. Mike.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. This is the annual renewal of our ArcGIS software, which is used heavily by the Public Works Department, Police Department, Community Development. We also did just complete a major upgrade on this system.
Very good. No questions on this item. Any questions from the committee? Hearing none.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Mike.
Thank you.
Item number 6 is consideration of an ordinance amending certain provisions of Chapter 10 of the Village Code regarding business licenses.
Motion.
Second.
Thank you. Colleen.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So attached for your consideration is an ordinance which amends certain provisions of Chapter 10 of the Village Code regarding business licenses. The ordinance explicitly requires a business that stores goods and supplies to obtain a business license. The ordinance was prepared by the village attorney, reviewed by staff, and was found to be acceptable. Thank you for your consideration.
Thank you. I have no questions on this item. Any questions from the committee? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Item number 7 is consideration to approve the final payment to Winkler Services LLC of LaGrange Park, Illinois for cyclical tree pruning in the amount of $149,447.90. Bid number 24-8-2. Funding in account number 100.2510-4180.
Second.
Thank you. Ryan.
Thank you, Madam Chair. On September 30th, 2024, the tree pruning contract was awarded to Winkler Services. This contract was based on unit pricing of $67.90 per tree. And this was also a turnkey project where they included all the labor, which included cutting as well as debris hauling. All this work was finished up in April and was found to be satisfactory by staff. So at this time, we're requesting final payment to Winkler Services in the amount of $149,447.90. Thank you.
Thank you. I have no questions on this item. Any questions from the committee? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Item number 8 is consideration to approve the final payment to Oki Electric of Arlington Heights, Illinois for the SCADA improvement project at the North Wastewater Treatment Plant in the amount of $31,285. Funding in account number 500.5032-4299.
Motion. Second.
Thank you. Ryan.
Thank you, Madam Chair. On March 4th, 2024, the contract for the skate improvement project at the North Treatment Plant was awarded to OK Electric. Scope of this work included providing all the labor and materials to implement the new SCADA system, as well as decommissioning the old SCADA system that we had in place. All this work has been inspected by staff and found to be satisfactory, and we've also received all final waivers of lien and certified payroll for the service. We did have one change order during this project, which actually resulted in a decrease to the contract of $1,300, bringing the new contract amount from $149,000 down to $147,700. And at this time, we're requesting final payment to OK Electric in the amount of $31,285. Thank you.
Thank you. I have no questions on this item. Any questions from the committee? Hearing none, all those in favor? Aye. Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Item number 9, consideration to approve a one-year contract extension of bid 24-4-1 to Preform Traffic Control Systems Limited of Elk Grove Village, Illinois, for the 2025 pavement markings in the not-to-exceed amount of $22,000. Funding in account number 100.2520-4180.
Motion. Second.
Thank you. Ryan.
Thank you, Madam Chair. In April of 2024, we received one bid for the pavement marking project, which was from Preform Traffic Control Systems. This included striping of the roadways for both 6-inch and 4-inch wide widths. Unit pricing submitted was 15 cents per lineal foot for 4-inch striping and 42 cents per lineal foot for 6-inch striping. The bid documents allowed for 2 one-year extensions if there's an agreed upon price, and Preform has agreed to keep pricing flat from the original contract. Staff has been satisfied with the work that they performed, so we're respectfully requesting your concurrence to approve a one-year contract extension to Preform in the not-to-exceed amount of $22,000.
Thank you. I have no questions. Any questions from the committee? Hearing none, all those in favor? Aye. Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Item number 10 is consideration to accept the proposal for a one-year contract extension of bid number 24-2-3 from Universal Concrete Grinding, Inc. of Warren, Ohio, for the 2025 Neighborhood Sidewalk Trip Risk Mitigation Program in the not-to-exceed amount of $20,000. Funding in account number 100.2520-4180.
Motion. Second.
Thank you. Ryan.
Thank you, Madam Chair. In March of 2024, we received 2 bids for the Neighborhood Sidewalk Trip Risk Mitigation Program, and Universal Concrete Grinding was the low bid at $41.35 per sidewalk cut. This bid did allow for 2 additional one-year extensions as well, and Universal Concrete Grinding has agreed to keep the pricing flat at $41.35 per sidewalk. Village staff was satisfied with the work that they performed, and at this time, we're requesting the one-year contract extension in the not-to-exceed amount of $20,000. Thank you.
Thank you. I have just one question. Would you remind us all when we would typically do grinding as opposed to replacement?
Sure, we do this anytime that there's a trip hazard of 2 inches or below. So if it's above 2 inches, we go towards replacement through the MFT program.
Thank you. Well, that's all I have. Go ahead, Sam.
Hey, Ryan. We're getting a lot of participation with our trip hazard website where the residents can contact us with any issues.
Residents do contact us quite a bit, and we respond to those issues right away. So any that we know of, we address through this program, and any that the residents bring up, we also go out and grind in-house.
Okay. Have you been seeing more interaction with that website or from the residents, like a higher uptick or anything like that?
I would say it's been pretty consistent, but we do receive quite a few requests, which our staff has been busy with.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Hearing none, all those in favor? Aye. Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Item number 11, consideration of a resolution approving the purchase of a 2026 International HV 507 cab and chassis from Rush Truck Center of Springfield, Illinois, and supplemental equipment from Henderson Equipment of Huntley, Illinois, through the Governmental Joint Purchasing Act in the total amount of $328,014. Funding in account number 640.9964-4347.
Motion. Second.
Thank you, Brian.
Thank you, Madam Chair. As part of the equipment replacement program, we are requesting to replace a 2011 International dump truck with a brand-new 2026 International HV 507. The cabin chassis will be purchased from Rush Truck Center and all supplemental equipment from Henderson Truck Center. This will be done through 2 different state contracts. So the first contract through Rush Truck Center will total $113,998, and that will be for the cabin chassis. And the second state contract, which is through NPP Gov, totals $214,016, and that's through Henderson Truck Equipment for all the supplemental equipment. Altogether, the price of the truck comes out to $328,014, and at this time, we're requesting your approval of the resolution. Thank you.
Thank you. I know we discussed equipment, this replacement at budget. Any questions from the committee? Hearing none, all those in favor? Aye. Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Item number 12 is consideration of a resolution awarding bid number 24-12-1 to Boulder Contractors of Cary, Illinois for the sewer separation and detention basin project in the Home Addition subdivision in the not-to-exceed amount of $11,610,532.60. Funding in account number 520.9952-4412.02.
Motion. Second.
Thank you. Ryan.
Thank you, Madam Chair. On April 1st, 2025, we opened up the bid for the combined sewer separation and detention basin project. We received a total of 7 bids for this, and the apparent low bidder was Boulder Contractors out of Cary, Illinois. This project is going to involve separating the combined sewer system into a sanitary sewer as well as a storm sewer system. And to assist with mitigating the overland flooding that's occurred in this area, all of the storm sewers will actually be sized for a 10-year storm instead of the minimum requirement, which is a 2-year storm. And we've also added the detention basin and Cherokee Park to assist with any type of overland flooding. So this should really help out the area with stormwater management, as well as reduce costs at our wastewater treatment facility, since right now we're treating all the stormwater in that area. Boulder Contractors would be a brand new contractor for the village, so we did check the references, which came back favorable. And they also come recommended by our engineer on the project, who is Trotter and Associates. So at this time, we're requesting your approval to award Boulder Contractors this contract in the amount of $11,610,532.60, all subject to attorney and village manager approval. Thank you.
Thank you, Ryan. We did talk about this at budget as well. I don't have any additional questions. Any questions from the committee?
I have a question. When are we expecting this project to start?
We're going to be meeting with Boulder right after we award this, and we are expecting this to start sometime early June.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Go ahead.
Madam Chair, based upon Mr. Hayden's comments about making this subject to approval by the village attorney and the village manager, I would just want to make sure whoever made the motion and the second agree with that, so it's clear on the record that that's part of the motion.
Motion. Second.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Any other comments, questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
And moving on to Public Health, Safety, and Judicial Committee items. Item number 13, consideration of an ordinance amending Chapter 3 of the Village Code to increase the number of Class C1 liquor licenses for the Addison Park District located at 120 East Oak Street. Is there a motion?
Motion. Second.
Joe?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Tonight, we do have a representative from the Addison Park District, but just to inform the board first, the Liquor Advisory Commission did meet on May 6th. We went over the requests made by the Addison Park District. The C1 is liquor consumption on premise. It should be noted, too, that the Addison Park District currently does have a liquor license at Links and Teas. We've had no problems there with the way they dispense liquor or consumption of alcohol on premise. This would be for 120 East Oak, which will help them with their rentals, primarily Friday and Saturday. And I know the representative can speak a lot better to it than I can, but this will help them because on some of those rentals, liquor is asked and requested, and at this point, they can't do it, and that's why they're here tonight.
Okay. Would you like to make a comment?
Yeah, so we currently only allow beer, wine, and champagne under 50% alcohol content.
Excuse me, I'm sorry to interrupt. Could we just have your name for the record?
Pompelo Rodriguez. Sorry about that. Yeah, we currently only allow beer, wine, and champagne under 15% alcohol content, and we get our permit through Paderma. It's a daily permit that we have to request. This will kind of take place of that permit, so we don't have to request a permit every week. And then we will be working with bartending services so they can dispense the alcohol to the customers, and that way we can kind of control the intake of the alcohol consumption, as well as potentially having possibilities to generate more revenue with the liquor license for 120 East Oak.
And the bartenders will all be certified?
Yes, they're all Bassett certified, and they all have DRAM insurance.
Okay, great. I have no other questions. Does any other questions from the committee? All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Joe.
Thank you, madam.
Item number 14, consideration of an ordinance amending Chapter 3 of the Village Code to increase the number of Class D liquor licenses for VLMA LLC, doing business as Nona's Pizzeria, located at 426 West Lake Street.
Motion. Second.
Joe?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Yes, before you tonight, again, is a Class D liquor license, which is a full liquor license for this establishment at 426 West Lake Street. The request is, it was a former pizza location. Again, there's a kitchen in there, it's a sprinkler, pizza ovens, and to be true to themselves is what they're looking to do is, they're also is here with us tonight. What they're looking to do is have a pizzeria there where people can take out or even attend and sit down. And if you have any further questions, they're here. On May 6th, the Liquor Advisory Commission did meet and unanimously did advise them to come here, provided they provided a new floor plan because some things had changed. They did that within 24 hours. I gave that to myself, and we forwarded that to your packet as well.
Thank you. Would you like to add any comments? And please state your name first.
Vince Leota. I really don't have any other comments.
Does anybody have any questions? Okay, thank you. No questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Joe. Item number 15, consideration of a resolution approving the continuation of Addison Consolidated Dispatch Center services for Village of Bloomingdale. Is there a motion?
Motion. Second.
Roy.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This item for consideration is another intergovernmental agreement between Village of Addison and ACDC member agencies, this time with the Village of Bloomingdale. This will be consistent with the other IGAs that we've renewed through these exhibits, where it began on May 1st, 2025, and will extend through April 30th, 2028. And for services provided by ACDC, Village of Bloomingdale agrees to pay the Village of Addison $550,778 in year one, $596,517 in year two, and $647,327 in year three.
Okay, I have no questions. Questions from the committee? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. And again, item number 16, consideration of a resolution approving the continuation of Addison Consolidated Dispatch Center services for the Village of Glendale Heights. Is there a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Roy?
Thank you, Madam Chair. This again is the same thing, another intergovernmental agreement, this time with the Village of Glendale Heights for services provided by ACDC, same Start date, same end date, May 1st, 2025 through April 30th, 2028. And for services provided by Village of Addison, Village of Glendale Heights agrees to pay $861,473 in year one, $933,014 in year two, and $1,012,487 in year three.
We must be doing something right with all these renewals. Good job. I have no questions. Questions from the committee? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Roy. Item number 17, audience participation regarding village business. We have none tonight. Item number 18, executive session, unnecessary. Item number 19, other business at the discretion of the chairman. Nothing. And item number 20.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Meeting is adjourned.
Good evening, Addison. We're at Village Board meeting for Monday, May 19th, 2025. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Trustees Del Rosario.
Here.
Kluzny.
Here.
Nasty.
Here.
O'Brien.
Here.
Reyes.
Here.
And Mayor Hundley.
Here. Everybody please rise for a Pledge of Allegiance.
Of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Item number 4, approval of the minutes of the May 5th, 2025 Village Board meeting. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Motion second. Are there any changes, corrections, or deletions to those minutes? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion is carried. Item number 5 is proclamation, appointments, and presentations. Tonight we have a proclamation declaring May 18th through May 24th as Public Works Week. Will the attorney please read the proclamation?
This is a proclamation declaring May 18th through 24th, 2025 as National Public Works Week in the Village of Addison. Whereas public works services provided in our community are an integral part of our citizens' everyday lives, and whereas the support of an understanding and informed citizenry is vital to the efficient operation of public works systems and programs such as water, sewer, wastewater treatment, roads, streetlights, trees, vehicle maintenance, and public buildings. And whereas the health, safety, and comfort of this community greatly depends on these facilities and services, and whereas the quality and effectiveness of these facilities, as well as their planning, design, and construction, are vitally dependent upon the efforts and skill of public works officials, and whereas the efficiency of the qualified and dedicated personnel who staff public works departments is materially influenced by the people's attitude and understanding of the importance of the work they perform. And whereas the year 2025 marks the 65th annual National Public Works Week sponsored by the American Public Works Association. Now, therefore, Tom Hundley, Mayor, does hereby proclaim May 18th through May 24th, 2025 to be National Public Works Week in the Village of Addison, and calls upon all citizens and civic organizations to acquaint themselves with the issues involved in providing our public works and to recognize the contributions which public works officials make every day to our health, safety, comfort, and quality of life.
Thank you. Ryan, on behalf of the village, accept this. I think Public Works sometimes is the unsung hero, excepting when it's snowing. We turn on our faucet, we have a water main break, make sure the toilet flushes and the sewers work. That's when you guys are, you have some of the dirtiest jobs to do, but, I think the village board can say, wintertime, and you get it too, you guys keep the streets amazingly clean, and we could drive through other towns, and I read that on Facebook and e-group of how the other towns are, you do a hell of a job, and I can't say it any better than that, and thank you to all the men and women of Public Works for all you do, and you want to say a few words?
Well, thank you very much for the kind words, Mayor Hundley. And I want to thank you, the entire board, all of the village departments, and also the residents. It truly takes a big effort to make Public Works do the things that we do. And the men and women of the department are working day and night, rain or shine, in the best conditions and in the worst conditions. So they truly are, like you said, kind of the unsung heroes of the village. So I couldn't be prouder to have the group that I have, and everything that they do on a daily basis just truly amazes me, and want to thank them for everything that they do, and just really appreciate the recognition for this. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Then item number 6 is audience input regarding agenda items before the board. We have none. Then item 7. 7A is approval of accounts payable.
Earlier this evening, we recommended approval of the following directives. Directive number 26-03 in the amount of $88,865.70. Directive 26-04 in the amount of $615,747.88. And Directive 26-05 in the amount of $1,643,815.19.
Thank you. And then 7B is approval of the final payment to Winkler Services LLC of LaGrange Park, Illinois, for sickle tree pruning in the amount of $149,447.90. 7C is approval of the final payment to Oki Electric of Arlington Heights, Illinois, for the SCADA improvement project in North Wastewater Treatment Plant in the amount of $31,285. 7D is approval of a one-year contract extension of bid 24-4-1 to Perform Traffic Control Systems Limited of Elk Grove Village, Illinois, for the 2025 payment markings in the not-exceed amount of $22,000. 7E is approval of the proposal for a one-year contract extension of bid 24-2-3 for Universal Concrete Grinding Incorporated of Warren, Ohio, for the 2025 Neighborhood Sidewalk Trip Risk Mitigation Program in the not-to-exceed amount of $20,000. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
Motion to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Motion is second. On discussion. Roll call.
Trustees Del Rosario,
Yes.
Cluzny,
Yes.
Nasty,
Yes.
O'Brien,
Yes.
Reyes,
Yes.
Thank you. Item 8 is ordinances and resolutions. 8A is first reading of an ordinance amending Chapter 3 of the Village Code to increase the number of Class C1 liquor licenses for the Addison Park District located at 120 East Oak Street.
At our meeting earlier this evening, the committee reviewed this ordinance, which amends Chapter 3 of the Village Code to increase the number of Class C1 liquor licenses for the Addison Park District, located at 120 East Oak Street. The committee recommended approval, and first reading is requested.
This is first reading of an ordinance amending Chapter 3 of the Village Code to increase the number of Class C1 liquor licenses for the Addison Park District located at 120 East Oak Street.
First reading.
First reading. Item 8B is first reading of an ordinance amending Chapter 3 of the Village Code to increase the number of Class D liquor licenses for VLMA LLC doing business as known as Pizzeria located at 426 West Lake Street.
At our meeting earlier this evening, the committee reviewed this ordinance, which amends Chapter 3 of the Village Code to increase the number of Class D liquor licenses for VLMA LLC doing business as Nona's Pizzeria, located at 426 West Lake Street. The committee recommended approval, and first reading is requested.
This is first reading of an ordinance amending Chapter 3 of the Village Code to increase the number of Class D liquor licenses for VLMA LLC, DBA Nona's Pizzeria, located at 426 West Lake Street.
First reading.
First reading. Item 8C is first reading of an ordinance amending certain provisions of Chapter 10 of the Village Code regarding business licenses.
At our meeting earlier this evening, the committee reviewed this ordinance, which amends certain provisions of Chapter 10 of the Village Code regarding business licenses. The committee recommended approval, and first reading is requested.
This is first reading of an ordinance amending certain provisions of Chapter 10 of the Village Code regarding business licenses.
First reading.
First reading. Item 8D is consideration of a resolution approving a renewal quotation from S3 Incorporated for ARCGIS software in a not-to-exceed amount of $18,923.23.
At our meeting earlier this evening, the committee reviewed this resolution, which approves a renewal quotation from ESRI Inc. for ArcGIS software in the not-to-exceed amount of $18,923.23. The committee recommended approval, and the attorney is asked to read the resolution.
This is consideration of a resolution approving a renewal quotations from ESRI Incorporated for ArcGIS software in the not-to-exceed amount of $18,923.23.
Motion to adopt the resolution?
Second.
Motion is second to adopt the resolution. On discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Trustees Del Rosario,
Yes.
Cluzny,
Yes.
Nasty,
Yes.
O'Brien,
Yes.
and Reyes.
Yes.
The resolution is adopted. Item 8E is consideration of a resolution approving the purchase of a 2026 International HV 507 cab and chassis from Rush Truck Center of Springfield, Illinois, and supplemental equipment from Henderson Equipment of Huntley, Illinois, to the Government Joint Purchasing Act in a total amount $328,014.
At our meeting earlier this evening, the committee reviewed this resolution, which approves the purchase of a 2026 International HV 507 cab and chassis from Rush Truck Center of Springfield, Illinois, and supplemental equipment from Henderson Equipment of Huntley, Illinois, through the Governmental Joint Purchasing Act in the total amount of $328,014. The committee recommended approval, and the attorney is asked to read the resolution.
This is consideration of a resolution approving the purchase of a 2026 International HV 507 cab and chassis from Rush Truck Center of Springfield, Illinois, and supplemental equipment from Henderson Equipment of Huntley, Illinois, through the Governmental Joint Purchasing Act in the total amount of $328,014.
Motion to adopt the resolution?
Second.
Motion is second to adopt the resolution. On discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Trustees Del Rosario,
Yes.
Cluzny,
Yes.
Nasty,
Yes.
O'Brien,
Yes.
and Reyes.
Yes.
The resolution has been adopted. Item 8F is consideration of a resolution awarding bid number 24-12-1 to Boulder Contractors of Cary, Illinois, for the sewer separation and detention basin project in the amount in the home addition subdivision in a not to exceed amount of $11,610,532.60.
At our meeting earlier this evening, the committee reviewed this resolution, which awards bid number 24-12-1 to Boulder Contractors of Cary, Illinois, for the sewer separation and detention basin project in the home addition subdivision in the not-to-exceed amount of $11,610,532.60. The committee recommended approval, and the attorney is asked to read the resolution.
This is consideration of a resolution awarding bid number 24-12-1 to Boulder Contractors of Cary, Illinois, for the sewer separation and detention basin project in the home addition subdivision in the not-to-exceed amount of $11,610,532.60.
Motion to adopt the resolution subject to final attorney approval and village manager approval.
Second.
Motion is second. On discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Trustees Del Rosario,
Yes.
Cluzny,
Yes.
Nasty,
Yes.
O'Brien,
Yes.
and Reyes.
Yes.
Resolution is adopted subject to attorney approval. Item 8G is consideration of a resolution approving the continuation of Addison Consolidated Dispatch Center services for the Village of Bloomingdale.
At our meeting earlier this evening, the committee reviewed this resolution, which approves the continuation of the Addison Consolidated Dispatch Center services for the Village of Bloomingdale. The committee recommended approval, and the attorney is asked to read the resolution.
This is consideration of a resolution approving the continuation of Addison Consolidated Dispatch Center services for the Village of Bloomingdale.
Motion to approve the resolution?
Second.
Motion and a second to adopt the resolution. On discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Trustees Del Rosario,
Yes.
Cluzny,
Yes.
Nasty,
Yes.
O'Brien,
Yes.
and Reyes.
Yes.
The resolution is adopted. Item 8H is consideration of a resolution approving the continuation of Addison Consolidated Dispatch Center services for the Village of Glendale Heights.
At our meeting earlier this evening, the committee reviewed this resolution, which approves the continuation of Addison Consolidated Dispatch Center services for the Village of Glendale Heights. The committee recommended approval, and the attorney is asked to read the resolution.
This is consideration of a resolution approving the continuation of Addison Consolidated Dispatch Center services for the Village of Glendale Heights.
Motion to approve the resolution?
Second.
Motion is second to adopt the resolution. On discussion? Hearing none. Roll call.
Trustees Del Rosario?
Yes.
Cluzny?
Yes.
Nasty?
Yes.
O'Brien?
Yes.
And Reyes?
Yes.
The resolution is adopted. Item number 9 is mayor's report. I have nothing tonight. Item 10 is officer's report. Village attorney.
I have nothing tonight. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Village manager.
Yes, Mayor, for our residents, just a reminder for Memorial Day, the village will be closed. That's May 26th, this coming Monday. We will reopen on Tuesday, the 27th at 8 o'clock.
Perfect. Thank you. And village clerk.
Also on Memorial Day, which we will be celebrating on May 26th, the events begin at 8 a.m. with a pancake breakfast at Indian Trail Junior High, sponsored by the Knights of Columbus, followed by the community march to St. Paul's Cemetery, which begins at 9:30 a.m. At Indian Trail Junior High. And from there is at St. Paul Cemetery, there is the posting of the flag at 10 a.m. The next event is at 11 a.m. And it's the VFW Memorial Day ceremony, which begins at 11 a.m. at Veterans Circle. And in case of inclement weather, the event will be moved into the Village Hall. Also, remember the hot dog lunch at noon at the VFW Hall at 446 West Lake Street. And Rockin' Wheels will begin on June 5th here naturally at the Village Green. The opening band will be Deacon Blues, followed by the headliner, Dire Straits Legacy. And we hope to see you there. And remember, anything you need to know about the events and what's coming up, please visit ithappensin.addison.com. Thank you.
Thank you. Item number 11 is commission and board reports. We have none. Item 12 is executive session if needed. We don't need one. Item 13 is audience participation regarding village business. We have none. Item 14.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion is second to adjourn. On discussion, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned.